The holding cell hummed with the low frequency typical of Zen3 detention facilities. Kylie adjusted her neural interface, the bioluminescent patterns along her temples pulsing in calculated rhythm. As she reviewed the file one final time, subject 4471W, human, male, designation William Chen, captured during the raid on the outer colonies. She had interrogated 47 humans in the past cycle alone. They all broke eventually. The Zen3 collective had perfected the art of information extraction over 3,000 years. Humans, with their brief two-century spacefaring history, were considered primitive at best. The door materialized before her, molecules rearranging in the familiar shimmer. Kylie stepped through, her four eyes adjusting to the dimmer lighting the humans seemed to prefer. He sat in the center of the room, hands folded calmly on the interrogation table. No restraint standard protocol. Where would he go? William Chen, she said, her voice modulator translating her native clicks and whistles into flawless English. I am Interrogator Kylie Reshvanta of the Zen3 Compliance Division. The human looked up. His eyes, those strange, binocular eyes that saw such limited spectrum, met hers without the fear she'd grown accustomed to. Just William is fine. Kylie's tertiary eyes narrowed. Informality was a deflection technique. She'd seen it before. You understand why you're here. I assume you want to know about Earth's defensive capabilities, military installations, population centers. William leaned back in his chair. Standard interrogation protocol for prisoners of war. The Zen3 collective does not recognize a state of war with Earth, Kylie replied, activating her neural recorder. This is a compliance action. Humanity violated Sector 7 protocols by establishing colonies in restricted space. Restricted by whose authority? The question hung in the air. Kylie felt a flicker of something unfamiliar, not quite irritation, but close. The Galactic Council, established for millennia before your species discovered fire. William smiled, a peculiar gesture that revealed his blunt omnivore teeth. And who gave them that authority? Let me guess, they gave it to themselves. Kylie's bioluminescent patterns flickered erratically for a moment before she stabilized them. In 47 interrogations, no human had questioned the fundamental structure of galactic governance. They usually begged, bargained, or broke. The system maintains order, she said. Falling back on doctrine, does it? Or does it maintain power for those already in power? William tilted his head. I've read about the Zen3. Your species joined the collective 3,000 years ago. Before that, you were explorers, artists, philosophers. Now you're enforcers. When did that happen? Kylie's primary hands clenched involuntarily. You are attempting to deflect from questioning. I'm attempting to understand why someone as intelligent as you and your neural implant architecture suggests exceptional intelligence would accept such a limited role. William's eyes remained steady. What did you want to be, Kylie, before the collective told you what you'd become? The use of her shortened name sent an unauthorized pulse through her neural network. Zen3 didn't use informal designations. That was inefficient, imprecise. My personal history is irrelevant to this interrogation, is it? William leaned forward. Because I think it's very relevant. See, we humans have this thing about free will. It's messy, inefficient, leads to all sorts of problems. But it's ours. Looking at you, I don't think the Zen3 always thought free will was a problem. Kylie accessed her historical databases, something she rarely did. The information was there, buried under layers of collective programming. The Zen3 had indeed been different once, before the integration, before the efficiency protocols, before the collective convinced them that individual thought led to chaos. You are attempting psychological manipulation, she said, but her voice modulator carried less certainty. I'm attempting conversation, William corrected. When's the last time someone just talked to you, Kylie? Not Interrogator Kylie Reshvanta. Just Kylie. The neural recorder was still running. Everything was being documented. Yet Kylie found herself responding. Zen3 do not engage in frivolous social interaction. That's not what I asked. Silence filled the room. Kylie's bioluminescent patterns had shifted to colors she didn't recognize from her training, deep purples and blues instead of the standard green efficiency indicators. 17 years, she finally said. Since before my integration into the compliance division. William nodded slowly. We're not so different, your people and mine. You were convinced that giving up freedom would bring order. We faced that temptation too, throughout our history. Some of us even took it. It never ended well. The collective has maintained peace for millennia, has it? Or has it maintained silence? There's a difference between peace and the absence of dissent. William's expression softened. Kylie, why are you really here? To extract information about human defenses, or to understand why we'd rather fight than submit? The question pierced through layers of conditioning. Kylie accessed files she'd compiled, but never consciously examined records of human resistance. Their inexplicable preference for dangerous freedom over safe compliance. It had never made sense. Until now. I don't know, she admitted. And the words felt like stepping off a cliff. William smiled again, but this time it seemed gentler. That's okay. Not knowing is where all real understanding begins. The collective taught you that certainty equals security. But we humans learned long ago that certainty is often just another word for stagnation. Kylie's neural recorder flagged the conversation as anomalous. Protocol demanded she terminate the session, report for reconditioning. Her hand moved toward the interface controls, then stopped. Tell me about Earth, she said instead. Not the military data. Tell me what it's like to choose. William's eyes brightened. It's terrifying. And it's beautiful. And it's ours. For the next 3 hours, Kylie listened. She asked questions that had nothing to do with her mission. And somewhere in that holding cell, designed to break human spirits, something else broke instead. The careful conditioning that had turned an explorer into an interrogator. When she finally left, the neural recorder was wiped. Her official report stated that subject for 471W had proven resistant to standard protocols and required further evaluation. It was technically true. What the report didn't mention was that interrogator Kylie Reshvanta had submitted a request to access the Zenthri historical archives, or that she'd begun asking questions that hadn't been asked in 3,000 years. The system had sent her to interrogate a human. Instead, the human had interrogated the system itself, and Kylie was beginning to remember what it meant to be Zenthri before the collective decided what that should mean.